Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about 5 important things that you should be doing in Lost Ark at endgame. I'm on the Russian version myself. I know there's really many of you that are testing the game in Russia. Really smart decision, by the way, good for you. Today I want to clear up a little bit the endgame for you. Because you're new, because you might be confused, what is there to do at endgame, what are people doing and why, let me tell you throughout this video. If you want to try Lost Ark for yourself in Russia, I have in the description below a guide telling you every single thing that you need to do in order to try it out. It is really simple. It basically takes 5 minutes to set up an account and get your game downloading for the Russian version. Yeah, cool. The first thing I want to mention, guys, is the chaos dungeons. This is something that you start getting access. Well, everything that we're going to be talking in this video today is something that you get access to in Lost Ark once you've hit level 50. So the chaos dungeons is this marker on the map. I'm gonna show you in another town where I'm not right on top of it. This is how the chaos dungeon marker looks like. It's in every major town. You just go to this panel right here, you click it, you interact with it, and you have one tier currently in the Lost Ark version that you can do. These are daily dungeons, very important for your gear progression and very important also for some mats that are used in upgrading your gear in Lost Ark. There is regular chaos dungeons and there is event chaos dungeons. Now, the regular chaos dungeons, you have access to the first one as you've hit level 50 with that item level. And then the more item level you get, the more chaos dungeons you can actually enter. They are the same concept, the same idea, a very nice, fast little dungeon that you can do either solo or with a group if you queue up. And they give you gear as rewards, accessories as rewards, and also very important, this particular ticket you get from the regular chaos dungeon. You get this particular ticket as a chance in your loot pool. This ticket is used to do this particular dungeon. This dungeon is the event chaos dungeon that has no item level requirement because everyone gets equalized in there and scaled up to whatever the dungeon is, whatever it's required in terms of stats for that. So this is a very nice thing to do. Why? Because it gives you gear upgrading mats, and in particular this mat right here. This is the most important thing that you should look for in general at endgame in Lost Ark. You see Akrasium, that's where you wanna go do stuff. From the event chaos dungeon, you can get the rewards only one time a day. Per 24 hours, resets at 6 in the morning server time. For the regular chaos dungeon, which gives you these tickets by the way, you can get the rewards 3 times a day. So 3 of these per day and 1 of this per day is the first thing that I want to mention in terms of endgame in Lost Ark. They are very important, they are very fun to do, and then they don't take a big chunk out of you. They're quite fast with any group really. You need to pay attention, you need to try your best of course so you wouldn't fail, because it's annoying when you fail in just a regular chaos dungeon. But just saying one thing you need to do. Next to the chaos dungeon, I've moved right here to the raiding board. Again, raiding board, I'm gonna give you Bairn as an example. This is how the raiding board works. In order to be eligible to do raids, you need to finish a very simple quest that you get from in front of the raid notice board. Right here is this NPC. I finished it, that's why I don't see it. Different towns have different NPCs from where you get the quest, but regardless, it's a very simple yellow quest that asks you to do 1 chaos dungeon. After you do that, you have access to the raiding panel. Raiding is the second thing I want to mention as endgame in Lost Ark. Raiding also is in 2 tiers. The more item level you have, the more bosses you can do. If we look at the first boss in the first tier, you can see that there's no item level required to do this. If we look here, then we need to have 275 or more item level, 295 or more, and so on and so forth. The higher tier it goes, the higher tier of bosses also it goes, the more item level you need. So raiding is the second thing I want to mention to you. Again, you can just enter with your party or just find a group for it. And how raiding works is that you have again 3 loots per day. You can see this box right here, Guardian Soul Harvest. Now these Guardian Souls are extra loots, the things that matter in raiding. If I select this option, if I tick this option, and if I have one Guardian Soul to harvest that day left, then I'm gonna go inside the raid, finish the boss, and get the extra loot from there. You only have 3 Guardian Souls per day, but you can do as many runs of the raid as you possibly want that day. You still get a little bit of what's in there in terms of mats that the bosses drop you, but you're not gonna get the extra loot because that's only 3 times a day. Now, if we look in the reward section of this boss as an example, you can see that it drops these materials, these 3 materials. With these materials, you craft yourself the raiding gear. On top of this, the loot table also contains accessories, which are really nice, and some rune boxes, which are also really nice, a bit of shillings and a seal book, yeah? Now, the first boss in every raid tier gives you the materials to craft that particular gear. The second boss, third boss, fourth boss gives you materials to upgrade that particular gear. The next thing I want to talk about, and we're gonna move again to another board in a major town. Everything at endgame apparently happens in a major town in Lost Ark. Then the third thing I want to talk about is the daily Chilean order tickets that every character on your account gets for free. You get 3 of these daily tickets per day, and you can only use these daily tickets on the Chilean command board. Chilean command board, which looks like this in the thumbnail and is in every major town in a variety of places, in different places depending on the town. This is the command board. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 choices. This is a dungeon that is solo, a very nice dungeon to do. Personally, I wouldn't advise you doing this dungeon until your item level, I don't know, 350, just because at that point you're gonna be able to do more floors. This is a dungeon with 50 floors, and obviously you need more and more item level if you want to finish more and more floors of this dungeon. It's an easy dungeon, it's a solo thing, it gives you some really nice rewards, I admit. Another thing you can do with these tickets, and which is something that I recommend for you at endgame to test out, is this cube dungeon right here. This cube dungeon you can enter with your group, or you can enter with your group here, or you can just search for a party by creating a party in the LFG search, or you can just click here and then it matches you with other random people from other random servers, right? If you enter this dungeon with a party of random people, like this matching button right here, then you have to know that most of those people, they just want to finish a quick bronze and get out, because they just want to waste their tickets, their Chilean tickets. The Chilean tickets stack up until 10 pieces. So for example, today, in a few hours from now when there's a reset, if I don't waste any, I'm gonna get another 3 tickets. But in reality, I'm just gonna get 1. So I'm gonna be losing out on 2 of these Chilean tickets because they don't stack above 10. So what I need to do now is quickly waste 2 of these tickets so I get to 7, and then later on at reset I get 3 more and I get to 10 for the next day, so I can do 10 things from this Chilean board. So this is what people do. If you queue up with randoms, you get to bronze. Getting to bronze is nice because it gives you this particular currency called shillings. This is used for changing the stats on your gear and changing, you know, polish effects and so on and so forth, equipping runes. It's just a general currency, right, in the game, an important one, but not a hugely important one. This dungeon, the cube, I want to highlight the fact that if you get enough item level, I don't know, 350 item level, you can attempt to do higher and higher tiers, like for example platinum. At one point, if the tier is high enough, you get a substantial amount of gold from this dungeon as well. One of the best ways of making gold in game without depositing real money is actually the diamond tier from the cube dungeon. It consumes 1 ticket for 1 entry, and you can start doing it at 250. Doesn't mean you're gonna get to platinum at item level 250, but you can start doing it then, and get some nice shillings and eventually get some nice gold. On top of this cube dungeon also gives you some materials for 1 of the island hearts around the world, just saying as a random info. So it's a really nice place to do. It's a fun place to do, and I highly advise you do it to consume your Chilean tickets. Here at the bottom you have 2 crafting dungeons, which I personally don't advise that you do in the Russian version for testing. You need the shillings a lot more here for testing if you want to test various skill builds, if you want to test various stat builds. In that sense, it costs a lot of shillings to always reset your skill builds if you just want to test them out in the real world. Of course you can go to Trision and test them out there for free, but that's just a dummy. The way you feel on a character, especially in PvP for example, if you want to test 99 skill builds in PvP, then resetting them is gonna cost a lot of shillings, and getting these shillings is not gonna be that easy if you just reset your skills 9 times every day, right? So I don't recommend you spend Chilean orders for these crafting dungeons. They are just dungeons that give you a lot more XP from gathering in there, and also there is a lot more gatherables in those dungeons all stacked up together compared to the real world. So I don't advise these, but I do advise these, and this especially, just because it facilitates your testing in Lost Ark on the Russian version. Another thing I wanted to mention, and I guess the last thing I wanted to mention for endgame in Lost Ark is PvP. PvP in Lost Ark can only be done at level 50 and by queuing up from the PvP board. PvP board, which looks like a Coliseum. Let me see if I can find it. This one right here is in this town. There is PvP that you can do 3 modes of PvP, and there is also a place where you can set up your own kind of PvP arena, so you can just maybe practice with a friend, maybe teach a friend, hey look, okay, I'm gonna do this, let's test it out in real time, let's see how you react to this skill. This is a very nice, definitely a very nice a place to hone your skills. A thing that I highly advise you to do in Lost Ark, to test out, to see how you like it, to see how you like that class in PvP. Classes in Lost Ark perform different. Some of them are really awesome to play in PvE, some of them are not that nice to play in PvP. In that sense, maybe it's not for you. Test PvP out also. I'm gonna have another video talking about PvP specifically in Lost Ark, talking about what you need to know in PvP and kinda how it works, because it's not really that straightforward. Worth mentioning that there is a merchant here also, that from the PvP tokens that you get by playing PvP, you can buy eventually gear that can be upgraded, same as any other gear in the game. Other things that I didn't mention in this video, there are really many of them. As I said, you can craft, you can max out your crafting professions here, lumbering, mining, hunting, and so on and so forth. You can do sea and water content, island hearts, and this and that. You can, I don't know, do your adventure book map completion, role play with your friends if that's what you want to do. There's a lot of things to be done in Lost Ark depending on your preference as a player, but I just wanted to mention to you the general things, the things that are really important and really kind of common in everyone's minds in that sense. PvE and PvP, what kind of types are there to do. But that's it, guys. I hope this video was useful to you. I hope now you have a better overview if you're a new player to the game on, hey, you know, what can I eat this end game content with? What kind of side dishes should I do there? I wish you, as always, guys, lots of love, and I'm gonna see you really soon. Until then, stay safe, take it easy.